And then lastly, on the playscape, a few more on flexible spaces. The next slide shows, again, love the image on the left-hand side. Again, that's that large metal space kind of towards the south end of the site. Those are children, young people from the Missouri School for the Blind. And they're having a ball, right? They're just making use of that flexible space. The lower right-hand corner, more children from that school climbing through that log. You can imagine how fun that is, right? And so it's just spontaneous play, kids being kids, and give them that flexible space, give them that open space that they can be a kid, right? It doesn't have to be structured. It doesn't have to be programmed. There doesn't have to be a competition. Just let them be kids. So one last thing on the playscape then. The next slide shows an opportunity that arose for us last August. And so we had a large shingle oak come down. It was diseased. It came down one Tuesday morning. We were very fortunate no one got hurt. And there wasn't a storm or a wind or anything. It just came down. Very large tree, as you can see there. And but it fell approximately in between the stream and the kind of the upland forest area, right along a path. And the upper left-hand corner does show that image, kind of, how it fell. And so we had a choice. We could cut it up and just haul it away. A couple of us said, hey, let's turn it into an exhibit. Again, we had a few folks say, that's not part of the master plan. That wasn't part of the design intent. Like, all master plans evolve. And so we won that argument. We turned it into an exhibit. We refer to it as the Paul Bunyan tree. And we basically skinned off the top 3 inches so kids have a flat surface to crawl on. We made the fall height 30 inches for code, except on the north end there. Kids love it, especially older kids, that tweener group. And they're fearless on it. The grade on the north edge of it drops off. They'll run right up to. I've seen kids do flips off of it. As a father, your heart stops. But they love it, and we love the fact that they love it, and it's been very, very popular. And again, that's just something that kind of came about that Mother Nature offered to us by bringing this tree down. And so again, I guess the lesson there is be flexible. So, okay, I'll try to move on here, Ann. So the next, before we get into it, the next slide shows Oakland Playground. So Oakland Playground, if you want to move ahead to the next slide. Again, this is a small neighborhood playground. It is in the park. It's over by the Dogtown neighborhood. And again, it was existing. And the next slide does show kind of the location. This playground is right next to a restroom building. You can see Dogtown to the bottom of the slide, and then I-64, Highway 40 on the north end, upper part of the slide. This playground was dated. It wasn't to code. It didn't even have a name. Some folks called it Oakland Playground. Some folks called it Tam Playground. There was no sign. But to the west, there's a park called Turtle Park, if you want to go to the next slide. And this is a park. Again, it's in Forest Park. Much beloved by St. Louis kids and families. It's called Turtle Park. This was developed in the late 90s, I think 1996 exactly. And there are very large shotcrete concrete sculptures of turtles. There's actually one snake as well. And it's a winner. Everybody loved Turtle Park growing up. So we thought, well, let's tie the identity of our new playground, to this winner that is Turtle Park. Why not, right? And so was the idea. And so that spurred my ideas. Like, okay, so we got into the design of the playground, and you'll see the next slide shows that existing playground. And again, you can see just the swing sets. There was some climbing gyms, climbing structures. There was a old teetotaler, bar, but all the planks or seats were gone. It was just the axle or bar left. lead paint, I think it was built in the 1960s, we determined. And you can see it was on grass. Nothing met code, right? And so it was determined, hey, we're going to redo this. And so we did start. The next slide shows just a real quick on the community engagement process. Again, very important with any planning effort. And we did do this in 2020. And so where we engaged the public on that. And then the next slide shows what was originally intended for the playground. And so it was just going to be a standard playground equipment, all up to date, right, to code. It was going to be with a board and play safety surface, indoor, what's called Merrimack pea gravel in St. Louis. Basically, it's a hard pea gravel. And you can see the kind of the shape of the outline of it. It was very nebulous. It was just really kind of nondescript. And myself and Dave Lindzick in our office, we said, hey, why don't we take some of the lessons we learned at Nature Playscape and try to incorporate them into this design of the new playground. And so the next slide does show some of those initial sketches that I came up with. And you can see the upper left-hand corner was the sketch I did of a turtle, a stump turtle. We initially had a mama turtle and two baby turtles, but we ran out of space for the baby turtles. So, and then you can see the model that we developed just to kind of give us an idea, spatially how it might kind of come together. And then some of the details of the benches, the stumps. The lower middle is our fencing, and there's a story there I'll tell that if you want to go to the next slide, please. It was very interesting during our advisory board process. We had obviously people reviewing it, and it kind of broke down from the edging. You can see Oakland Avenue there. The south edge of the playground is approximately 35 feet to the curb. And younger parents all said they wanted a fully enclosed playground with ornamental rail fence. They cited some recent nearby playgrounds, fully enclosed. The older folks on the committee, 50 and up, all said, then it's going to look, almost like a cage. And the security folks said, we don't like that. You can't look into it. And so we came up with this idea of a post and rope. And it was real funny. Finally, one of the older ladies she's an engineer, Denise Kalman, very successful engineer. She just flat out said, she said, you young parents need to stay off your phones and watch your kids. Be at the playground with your kids. And that put the end of it, and we put in the post and rope. And we haven't had any kids, get run over on Oakland Avenue. It's a demarcation line, but it's transparent, it's open, it's done with all natural materials. We think it's worked out well, and it does kind of give some identity there. So you can see the plan. It is shaped on a turtle shell, if you will. There's a swing set and a play structure, upper left-hand corner for 2 to 5 year olds. And then there's a swing set play structure kind of on the right-hand side. That's for older kids, 5 to 12. The stump turtle is right in the middle. And then we have a series of timbers, log timbers for climbing elements. And then the surfacing is all mini mulch, which is ADA compliant, and it's just a finely graded hardwood mulch. Okay, and then the pathway in the middle is an aggregate, 3/8 of an aggregate, a limestone aggregate pathway to be ADA compliant as well. And so the next images do show, a little bit on the construction. All right, yeah. We did make use of volunteers. We are fortunate to have a number of different groups, whether they're corporate groups or fraternal societies and others, to help us out. You can see they help to debark a number of the timbers. They actually cut a number of them, which is talk to your legal counsel when you invite volunteers on site with chainsaws. I don't know if that's a good idea, but we did it. And then you can see the construction there of the turtle. Each one of those logs, and there's approximately 144 of them that are 5 foot in length, minimum 18-inch diameter. I think some of the larger ones are closer to 2 foot in diameter. And again, we get most of these from the park and from the city's city arborist tree stockpile. We did get a few from the Missouri Department of Conservation and from Tower Grove Park, which is another city park not too far away. So